All right. Here we are. I can remove this. Yep. Go and look for the project. It is going to be, I don't know, here, CareerEx. I think we're working on career export. So gradually we're coming to the end of the MVC, the backend. So hopefully we should finish it today and deploy the project. So the moment you deploy, I think we are almost done with the project. Every other thing is just extra. What do I need to type? npm run dev. Is that it? Show more open code. So please ask. Good afternoon, everybody. Just good afternoon. If I have not answered you, good afternoon, happy weekend. I wish you the same, all of you. You are doing massive. Those guys that are doing fintech, oh, you guys are awesome. You're doing nice. The people who are doing sports betting, marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Now, if you continue that way, that you've already started, you're doing nice already. So, but I cannot tell until I see the end of it, like milestone 3. But the way you started is awesome. Sports betting, the fintech, the real estate, the e-commerce also. You're also doing nice. Awesome. Well done. So let's continue. But ask your questions. We are here for now. I have this running. I don't even know where I stopped. Where did I? Yes, controllers. So in the controllers, we're able to establish that you move all the functions into a different file. So that is what I'm going to do now. I need to complete that. I moved only this one. I need to move all of these functions, all of them, into the controllers. All of them, starting with this login. The function starts from this async. You know what? If you can see my screen, and you can please go ahead. Kins Ikechuku, please request for the mic. I'll give you the mic. Yes, go ahead, speak. If you can see my screen, Peter, I'm going to give you the mic. Ikechuku, go ahead.
All right, thank you, sir. So I want to ask a question with regard to the token for authentication or authorization, sort of. So
Okay.
because last time we spoke about it that with that token, a user can have full access to the application. They can make requests and get back things as a user. So if, for example, someone else, maybe an attacker or someone is able to get that token, maybe from their browser dev tools or something like that, and then they take that token and then they probably use it in their own, maybe they go to the same app, then maybe they inject the same token in the browser dev tools inside their cookies to where it ought to be, then they now access the app with that token available to them on their own browser. Will they be able to use the app as you that had the token? And is that possible, or is there a way to combat it possible?
Okay, I don't know if it's my network or yours. So, but from your question, I think you are trying to say if it's somebody else who's not the user is able to get the token, can he be able to perform all the tasks that a normal user would? The answer is yes, for the time that token is valid. Now, depending on the platform you are building, if you are working on a fintech app, you know that it relates to users' finances, and users can easily log out. Some people log out, some forget to log out. Now, most times in that kind of situation, what you do is set it to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is even too much. 3 minutes. Most times we'll give it 5 minutes, or we use what is called passport sections. So sections, in a case that the moment you close that tab, or close this, but it's not you now. It's not you. But if you implement sessions, the moment you leave, the token expires, because there is no way a hacker can gain access to that token while the user is still on the device. So I open my device, I'm still on it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Nobody's going to gain access to it because the platform, you build it, except the front end doesn't know what he's doing. But I want to believe the front end knows what he's doing. The back end also knows what he's doing. So there's no way any hacker can gain access to that token while the user is still there. So if you reduce the time for which that token is valid, you can actually save that user. But if it doesn't, if it doesn't concern anything finances or all of that, you can extend it. The reason is this: if you extend it to say 1 day, you can also not gain access to it. Now, when you do that, there are two ways. Not 2 ways. There are so many ways to actually go with that token. First, you are sending the token to the giver, to the front end. What the front end wants to do with it is none of your concern. But as a front end developer that I am, I can decide to save it in so many places. Number one could be in the session. Number two could be in the cookies. Or I can decide to save it in the store. I'm not talking about as a front end developer, not the back end. So for you as a back end, it doesn't really concern you. Your goal is to make sure that a token must be sent, and you have to verify the token. You have to know who owns the token. Now, but if for any reason you feel like your platform is not entirely safe, you can add two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication, the anytime you get a token on login, or maybe on anything that is will I call it secret, not really secret, something that has to do with maybe money or perform acts or delete a user or any of that, you can decide to, let me see if I can mute you. I will unmute you later. So you can add two-factor authentication in the sense that if you try to do something, yes, I've validated you, I've seen your token, I know who the user is, and I know what you want to do, but I can do an extra check by sending you an email. So I send you an email with an OTP, or maybe I send you an SMS with an OTP. So if you feel the app is not that safe, you can add that as an extra to save the user as a backend developer. But you're not really, your part is to make sure that the backend is concerned. But if the token gets exposed, you can't really control that. You can't. But the best you can do is, depending on the platform, you reduce the validity, or you use sessions, or so many ways. But don't worry about the tokens. The tokens are always secure. Nobody can gain access to it while the leaves their device, maybe leave it for too long, but by then the token would have expired. And the refresh token is not sent directly, even though you want to send it directly, still fine, but it's not sent directly. Some people save it on the database, some people save it on the cookies, and you cannot access the cookies on the front end. Now there are cookies you can access on the front end. There are cookies you cannot. When the backend sets the cookie, I want you to look up that. It's just I think one line, how to add the HTTP only. So if you add that line, that token, once the backend sets it, that this refresh token cannot be accessed on the front end. Now, even the front end developer will not see it, will not see the refresh token, because that refresh token, you give it maybe 30 days validity, or maybe 7 days validity, as the case may be. So you can set it in a way that nobody can see it on the front end. It only comes with a request. So if the front end makes a request, you, the back end, you see it in the request, but the front end cannot see the token. But don't worry about those tokens and all of that. I know that we try to build applications that are secure, but trust me, they are always secure. A lot of these things are always upgraded. These devices, the browser, everything we use The all updates keep coming out yearly. Updates keep coming out. Even as you're building your backend, updates keep coming out. So even though you gain my token today, you get my token today, there's every possibility that you cannot use it. It works that way. Tokens get tampered with and it doesn't work again. JWT handles all of that. So, but don't worry about it. So, but the other ways now, apart from token, fintech use pins. Yes, pins and OTPs, and you can say, how can it? We already implemented how to send OTP via email. No, we've already implemented how to send email. So, but what you want to send via the email is entirely up to you. It can be OTP. OTP just means generate a random number using normal JavaScript. It's pure JavaScript, math.random, then multiplied by 100. You get any random number, maybe 4 numbers or 6 numbers, as the case may be. You can always look that up. It's basic JavaScript, the first layer of JavaScript. But there's the SMS part. There are so many ways to send SMS. It could be Postmark or Twilio. Now, this documentation, they already have the code snippet, so you don't need to bother yourself on how to write the code. They have already written the code for you. It's on their documentation. All you need to do is just create the account, copy your password, copy your, if they use username or ID, any of them that they use, you copy it and replace it. So you already see how to send SMS. The code is there. You can copy it and then insert it in your backend, and it will send your SMS. Try it multiple times, it will work. So in the case of multiple schemas, do we put them in one model? You're going to have a folder. I think somebody did that. The person put all their schemas in one file. It's not advisable. Have different files for different schemas, but all the files, put them together in one folder as model. So I think I have one folder here. This is a folder called model. So all this folder is going to contain all your schemas, every schema in its own file. If you have the auth schema, the user schema, the wallet schema, different schemas, you put all of them inside this folder, but not to put all of them inside one file. No, that is not advisable to put them inside one file. Okay, I think somebody said he wanted to speak. Peter, are you ready? Where is Peter? Peter, do you still want to say something? Can you guys actually see my screen? I want to believe you can see my screen. Peter, are you here? You're welcome. All right. Peter, he's not raising his. You need to raise your hand, like request for the mic, so that I'll see you and I'll give you the mic. Feel free to ask any question. There is no stupid question. There is no nonsense questions. Just ask question. Always ask. I even ask myself. So what I'll do is I'll start from this async. The function starts from this async and ends with this coily breeze. It doesn't include the all right, guys. Sorry, I had to restart my router. See if it's better now. I think it's better now. Is a backend developer using JavaScript as a language? Can I work with a mobile developer who is using Python to create an app? Considering both languages are different, yes, you can. You are not giving the backend, the front end, anything. So whether it's you're a backend developer using JavaScript and the mobile developer is using Python, that's not true. You can't build a mobile app with Python, except you're talking about the backend of the mobile app. You can't build the mobile app with Python. Or is that something I don't know yet? Um, I don't think so. So, but your backend, if you're building your backend with JavaScript, it can work with any technology you're using to build your mobile app. Any technology you're using to build the mobile app. The backend has nothing to do with what you use to build mobile app. There will always be different programming languages. There will be. What about the growth of AI? How can we implement an AI into our backend with the knowledge of JavaScript, most especially if it's a large project, or do we need to learn a pick? No, you don't need to pick up Python, but if you want to, it's fine. You can always integrate AI into your Node.js, depending on the AI you want to use. There are so many AIs. I've had students that implemented AIs for different predictions, AIs for image generation, AI for anything. You understand? There's going to be different AIs coming up soon. You don't need to learn any new programming language. You need to learn the AI. How do I put it now? What you want to do with AI. That is what you want to learn. It can be done with JavaScript. It can be done with TypeScript, Node.js, all of that. It can be done. Yeah, it can always be done. I'm sorry for that. I want to divide this. I want to cut out this function, but I want you to see where I am cutting from. I'm cutting from the async to this coily braces. As a matter of fact, I think I remember that there's this student that's working on agricultural product, and they are implementing AIs too. So I think I had one discussion with their team. So you can always, and they actually prefer to implement it with Node.js. I mean, the project owners are the ones that actually recommended it be implemented with Node.js. So it's not Python. Now, Python is good, Python is beautiful, but I'm one of the developers that argue that when it comes to building a large scale backend, Python is going to give you issues. Not for Python is good for backend, but there are large scale backend you build. Let me not go that route. Thank you. All right, so I have this function. I'll cut it out from here with Control X. I'll go to my controller and create a function that will handle login. Okay, this is handling registration. This handles get user. So I'm going to create a function here called handle login is equal to and paste. So that's all I need to do. Cause handle login is equal to an async function. I'll copy this name and export it. Come down here, export it. Save, come and then import it here. Paste it and import. Wait for automatic import is imported. I'll also cut this one from here to here. I'm not cutting the bracket. I'm only ending at the coily braces. Cut it. Come back to this place and then add const handle forgot password is equal to paste it there. Now the reason why I am not importing all of this is because I know they've already been imported. So when you copy and paste like this, make sure to confirm that everything you use, you import them again. Yeah, this is imported. Make sure that everything you use here is also imported, otherwise it will crash. So I'll come, and I want to do at this point, you know how to read error messages. So when you see an error message, you know what is wrong. Come back here. I have this is for reset password. So I'm going to call the function to reset password. Yes, called handle reset password is equal to paste, and save it. Make sure that Bitcrypt is imported. Yes, imported. What else did I use here? And that's all. So I'm going to export the reset password, save it, come back here and import the reset. Wait. I imported reset password. I didn't import the forgot password. Where's the forgot password? I did not add it. Are you serious? So I did not actually add the forgot password. Come back here again, copy handle forgot password. Yep. Paste. Let's see it. All right. For the reset password API, is the authentication really needed? I mean, the authentication for the midway, absolutely it is needed. No, but it depends on the flow of your application. I think I have somebody who said he got a job and the issue is having now is understanding the flow on the UI. So some UI, on the UI, you are going to see that you're going to see what is required. Let's just walk through CareerEx. CareerEx, for example. So if I come to CareerEx, it's going to log me in, but I need to log out. Okay. It's logging me in. Now this thing is logging me in entirely because you are not going to see the token, the refresh token. It's everything is in the cookies, so it's hidden. So from this UI, you know that the front end will send you an email, back end will send you a password. They will also send you keep me signed in, for example. So you know the details you are expecting. If you come to forgot password, you know the details you're expecting. Now if I type in David, my email is David something. You know what? Let me just type virtual surveillance since this one doesn't want to work. And send. This is only sending me an email. If I go to my mail, okay, so I have a reset password email sent to me here. If I click on the reset password email, I have this keyword. By the time I'm just trying to let you understand what flow means on the UI. These things, you are going to see them as design. You will see the register form, you see the login form, you see the forgot password form, you see the reset password form. Those forms are telling you what the user will be sending to you as a backend developer. But there are cases where the UI is not correct. You will tell the UI as a backend developer, this is not correct. Now, in this case of resetting password, they are only sending you password. They are not sending you email. So how would you know who owns this password and how to reset their password if you don't authenticate them? So in a case where if they are sending you the emails of the user from this front end, then you don't need to authenticate them anymore because you know who the person is already. If they are sending their phone number here, you don't need to authenticate them. But they are not sending those informations. They're only sending the password. For you to find out who owns the password, you need to authenticate that user. So authentication at this point is compulsory. Is required. And as a matter of fact, you're actually doing two-step authentication because you are sending them an email first. So you're sending them an email first, trying to confirm that this is you. So if they do their part, you, the backend, will also do your part and make sure that the person who actually did send this request is the person that wants to actually reset their password. So it's compulsory. And I think we've moved all of this. There's nothing else remaining. Yeah, my server is still running. Nothing is crashing. So the next phase is, we've done with the controllers. The last phase is the routes. The route is currently empty. So which part of this is the route? From here down to here is the route. Now, some persons do miss this part. Exactly. You extract the token. You are not the one extracting the token actually. The front end will extract the token and send you the tokens in the header. So you are extracting the token from the header, while the front end will extract it from the URL. So there are two different things. Here we're talking about the route. So I'm going to create a new file for all the routes. So I will come here. I'll call it index.js. This is how I build my route most of the times. This is how I build my route. So please pay attention. It may look a little confusing. So this index is going to handle all my routes. I will group all of them into one. So whether it's the wallet route, whether it's the user authentication route, whether it's product route, anything route, I'm going to create one route now, and I'll call this the auth routes.js. So I have one route. This is the auth route. If you want to have any other route, you create those routes. And then I have one route where I will group all of them into one. So here I want to create something. To create a route, I'm going to bring in express router. Express router comes from express. Require express. This requires express. So I want to then create my router. I'll say const router is equal to express router, like this. So all of these things now that are inside here, all of these things now from the beginning, which is this, till here is the route. From here to here becomes the route. From here to here becomes the route. The only thing I'm leaving behind is the app. But every other thing is the route. I'll take it out. So I'll start with this first login. I'll cut the login here. I'm leaving the app. I'll come here and say router paste. This is now my router. Now I need to export the router actually. So I'll say module.export, because if you create the router, you should export it. Export is equal to router. Save it. That one is a different case. Writing unit test is different case. There are some companies that require you write unit testing. There are some that do not. So what is unit testing? You're just writing a bunch of codes to automatically try out what you've implemented and see if it's working. So it's a different thing. You can always look that up, and it's also easy. Yeah, it's also easy to work, but it's hard. They're all hard. So I will just copy all the routes, all of them, and then put them inside here. From here to here is the route. I'll cut it out, put them here. So I'll come to this one and say router, then paste. I'll come to this one, cut this forgot password out, cut it, come here, and then add it. Say router, then paste, and save it. I'll come to this one, cut this one out, cut it, come here and say router and paste. So come here, remaining this forgot reset password, cut it out, X, come here, say router and paste, save it. So I think I've been able to copy all the routes, nothing is left anymore. Now I can delete these other ones. I noticed that once the access token expires, I have to send a request using either the login API or the refresh token API to get a new token. My question is, in a real project, how does the website automatically know when a token has expired and send a request with the refresh token to get a new access token and log in the user automatically? Now, this is how developers feel. You have come to that point where they call you a software developer. You've already built the API that manually does it. So how do you handle it automatically? There was a time, the first time I implemented this thing you're talking about, the first time, how I did mine was anytime the user is supposed to do anything that involves making a request, any single time, I have one API that checks if token has expired. So I wrapped it as a utility function, a function I call every single time that the user wants to make a request. So you make a request with the token. If that token has expired, let the front end send you a new token and then replace the old token with the new token and send the second request. So all of them happen in one function. So I have a utility function that whenever you call it, it will just generate a new token for you. So you can go about it that way. The front end is going to create a utility function that picks the access token and sends it to you and get a new refresh token. Or you, the backend, you can do it. If the token they sent to you has expired, try to see if you can get their refresh token from the cookies automatically and then refresh the function. Now the thing there is that if you do it that way, they will keep using the old token. They will keep using the old token. So it's better done on the front end. The front end sends you a request. That's one way. Another way is this, which the CareerEx does. So if the moment your token has expired, automatically push them to login page. Automatically push them to login page because you've given them a number of hours. So, but if they keep refreshing it, if the site is refreshing on its own, it will pick the refresh token. But if the person is coming back, just refresh them back to the login page. So there are so many ways. You just need to figure out which one works for you. But welcome to being a developer. That's why you are paid. You are paid to figure it out. There are so many ways it can be done. There's so many ways. So a little search, you find it. So you said the front end and the back end are not connected. What is the place for cause? Now, cause is very important. When you deploy your backend project, the backend is going to block any request coming from anywhere by default. The backend will block any request coming from anywhere by default. So the moment you push your project, it will be blocking everything. But you need to allow some requests. So with cause you are asking the backend specifically allow cross-origin interaction. So if a request is coming from a different platform that is not related to backend, accept the request, listen to it. So backend and backend can communicate and there will be no issues because both of them are the same origin. They're the same thing, backend. They can relate. But if a front end is sending a request to a backend, the backend will block it because it's a different platform. It will block it. So, but if you enable cause, that's in you install cause, something like this, you come here and you say npm add cause. Every developer, backend developer is expected to do this. So npm add cause, you're going to install cause. Now if you install cause, you come to the top of the app and you are here, maybe not here. Since I'm not using these things here, I can, you see those validation, I've not actually imported them, so I'm going to have errors. Yeah, I need to import these things, including the controllers. I didn't even import them here, and I was rushing off to do something else. So make sure when you change their destinations, you import them here. I was not even looking. It was a good thing I came back here to do cause and I saw it. See, so now they're imported. I can then remove them from here. Remove this one, remove this one, remove this one. So this is how I add cause. I will say const cause is equal to require cause because you have installed cause. You have installed cause. So you come here and you tell your app to use cause. Use cause like this. So if you do this, you are actually telling the backend not to reject any request coming from a front end. Are you serious? My screen is now moving. Really? So, but is it okay now? Like, is it moving now or is it still hanging? Sorry, what did I do? Did I do add or? Okay, I did add. Sorry, I'm used to add. Use install rather. So I do yarn add a lot. So I think that's why I'm using add. So use install. Use install. Add will work, but try using install. Keep it to install. This is just like an oversight. I always use yarn add, so I'm not used to add. The same thing. Okay, so if you do this, you are telling the backend not to reject any application, any front-end request rather. But you can also specify that okay, only a particular website by adding their URL. You can always look up that, but you don't have to do that. Keeping it this way, it's fine. It's not going to reject any front end, but you can specify and say, I want only this hosted URL. Any other URL, reject it. You can do that because. So, but let's proceed so that we don't miss out on what we're doing. I'm going to delete these other ones and keep only one app, which is this one. So what I want to do is say, I want this app to use those routes. Use those routes. So I need to group the routes and store them and bring them here. Rather, import them and bring them here. So instead of adding app.get, app.post, app.this, we don't want the request hitting the app directly. We want the router to handle the request, no longer the app itself. So once the request comes into the app will just push it automatically to the router. The app will not handle it. It will push it automatically to the router so that the router handles it. If we get millions and so many, it's not as if this is going to handle millions, but it reduces the workload on the app because the router will be the one making sure that request completes from beginning, going through the router, going through the validations, the middlewares and everything, and coming back. So the app just accepts and sends, accepts and sends. So it's not handling anything. It doesn't reduce too much workload. There are other ways to reduce workload, but it does reduce some workload. So, but finally, I need to, since I'm done with this, I need to group them now. I will come into the main route. Some people group them with objects, but I group mine with arrays. So I group mine with arrays like this. I say app and module.export sorry, export is equal to route. Now I can bring in the first route. Const alt route is equal to require, sorry, dot slash alt route. So I bring it in, take this and put it inside here. So if you have other routes, you put all of them inside this place. Then you export this and put this route inside the other function so that all the routes will have access to it. So here I need to bring in the route. I'll say const routes is equal to require dot slash routes. Then pick this route, copy it, and paste it in here. That is all. So I have succeeded in cleaning up here. Every route I create, I'll put them inside this array. All the routes. So I have alt routes. I continue to add to alt routes. If I have user route, I'll create user route and then I'll bring it and add it inside here. If I have wallet route, I'll bring it and add it inside here. So the app is going to see all of them so long as they are all grouped and added into this array. It is going to see all of them and all of them will be active. So this is how I do mine. If I go back to Postman and try to log in just to be sure that everything is working out fine, my server is not crashing. So just to check everything out on Postman, I just open Postman and be sure that everything is working fine. Where is the Postman? What is going on? So, but you can ask your question. Why the choice of an array and not an object? An object, I need to create more than one of these for an object. But for an array, it's just one. One is enough. What I mean is, for this is one, I want it one. This also, I want just one. But for an object, it's going to be more than one. So that's why I use array, not object. But object is fine. They all work very well. All of them work fine. It's just choice. When it comes to this development thing, there are different ways of doing any particular thing. Yeah, there are so many ways of doing it. Everybody believes that their own way is the best. Their own way is the best, but that's not really the case. It's about how you choose to do it, because most of the times there are people who like writing too much codes. There are people who like to write less codes. Now it doesn't mean we don't know what we're doing. Everybody has why. I don't want to write too much code. You know what? I want to take my time and write too much code. So there are different persons, different ways, different approach. So I want to believe that this is my login and I have the body. I have the body. Where is it? Is it working? Is it not body that I just clicked on now? It's okay. So while we're waiting for that, any question on the route? Any question on the route? Because the next thing we need to do is to deploy this project and then generate a documentation for the project. That's all. So the moment your project, you have actually say build them or arrange them according to the MVC, next thing you want to do is to deploy it. And I think I'm running out of power on this laptop, so hopefully I just send this request and it said JWT is not defined on the login. So JWT is not defined on the login controller. So I'll go All right. Quite unfortunate. There was power when I started. Yeah, the class was recorded. So, but what I will do is, I'm not going to teach. The class is still recording. So, but the code base we've written already, the code I want to deploy, I have not pushed it to GitHub. It's still on that system. So what I'll do is, I don't know if this screen is going to be clear, but let me try sharing again and see if this is better. We are going to wait for when there is power. I always have power, don't worry. They're going to restore power so that I can go back to that code base, because that is the one I want to deploy. So, but before we deploy, we're going to talk about the deployment platforms, how to deploy, and all of that. So, but can you see my screen and can you hear me before we continue? Are you serious? My screen is not showing. So I will stop sharing again and share again. Let's try one more time. So how about now? Is it showing now? It's blurry, blurred. Okay, so let me just give it a few minutes. We'll talk about other things. Um, I'm not going to do too much. I'm not writing the code here. Let's talk about how to deploy our project. Now, as a backend developer, your project is not complete until you deploy. You have to deploy to one server. Now, most of us are used to some hosting platforms like Namecheap, Hostinger. What is the other ones? There are so many hosting platforms, but these platforms cannot host your backend. They cannot host your backend. You need backends with servers, VPS, servers that are running 247. I know that most of these other ones, they run 247, but they cannot run a backend. They cannot. Yes. I'm going to teach you how to host it for free. Now, let me actually say this. The free hosting is only meant for development stage. While you are developing any project, whether it's as big as OP, whether it's big as anyone, you can actually host it for free while you are developing. Now, the only downside of that free one is you can't have too much traffic on it. So, for example, while you are developing, you may be the only one making requests to it, or maybe the front-end developer is also making requests to it, or maybe 2, 3, 4 persons that are testing the application are making requests to it. So, may put it roughly together, a total of 10 persons are making a request to the front to that server. So, it can handle it perfectly. There will be no issues. But by the time you start hitting too much requests, you need to move to a paid account or a paid hosting like that. So, but for the free one, you can use it while you are developing. But also, because it's a free hosting, it used to sleep. What I mean sleep is it becomes inactive. Whenever you leave it for a few hours, if you are not constantly making requests, it will go sleep, as in it will just become inactive. And if it becomes inactive and you make a request, that first request will take it time to wake up. So it might take up to 30 minutes before you get a response because it was inactive for a while. And then by the time you hit the request. So what I do most times is, because I know that first request might actually take up to 30 minutes. Anytime anybody wants to test it, I make a request first. Before I share it, I make a request first. Beginning of the day, I make a request. I make a request in the morning. I make a request in the afternoon. I make a request in the night, so that I may not know who is testing it and when they are testing. Before the person says, oh, your application is slow. Yes, it is going to be slow because it's a free hosting. Maybe use our portfolios when we have, I'm trying to say, maybe use it to host our portfolios when we have it. You said, okay, the portfolios, there is something called Vercel. Vercel is for your hosting your portfolios. Vercel is free. You can host your portfolios on Vercel. It's free. If you are this thing, it's free to host on Vercel. So you can use Vercel for your portfolio. You can also use Netlify, but these ones are not backend. They cannot host backend. To host your backend, I will always recommend Heroku. Heroku is one, I've used Heroku a lot. There was a time when it was free to host on Heroku, but right now it's no longer free. It's no longer free. They've removed the free tier. So to host an application, yes, Heroku demands cards. Now, I'm not talking about free hosting. Now, I'm going to show you the ones that have free hostings. We're just talking about in general where you might want to look out when deploying your project, what you will tell the client, why you are choosing what you are choosing. I like going with Heroku. It's easier to set up. It can carry a large amount of traffic. It can even accept as low as $7 per month. $7 per month. You don't need to pay too much. But if your traffic increases, your charges can increase to as high as $25 per month or even more than that per month. So depending on your traffic. So Heroku is my go-to most times. Another one is Render. Now, Render allows both free and paid. Render is my second choice. It's also free to it's easier to set up. The same way Heroku is easy to set up also. So Render is like, I host most of my free application to Twitter project on Render. We're also going to deploy our project on Render because it's free to host on Render. It's free. And you can also pay as high as $25 also on Render like that, but you can't pay for Heroku. So there's another one called Cyclic. Cyclic is also free, but for only Node.js projects. Sorry, my connection is okay. Yeah, Cyclic you can say, but only for Node.js projects, JavaScript projects. So it doesn't host any other project. It's also free. Okay, they have some here. There's Python. Okay, I haven't used it for the while. There is Go. There is Next. Okay, there is Vue. There's React. Maybe they've upgraded, but as at the time I used it, it was only for JavaScript. It's actually for JavaScript. So it was only for JavaScript project. It doesn't support Python and Go. But it's free and it's also paid. You can go for free. You can also go for paid. So these three are very, very easy to deploy. You can use it for any project, whether a big project or a small project. But there are sometimes you may have a very big project, let's say a bank or let's say a government project, any of those bigger issues. I always recommend DigitalOcean or AWS. DigitalOcean or AWS. Now, DigitalOcean is a little bit expensive and also is a little complicated to set up. It's a little complicated to set up. So, but you don't need to bother yourself. If you cannot set it up, it's fine. You can always get somebody to set it up for you. It's only done once. You set up the development only once. There is something called CI/CD. CI/CD. Now, when you want to apply for a job, they will ask you if you know CI/CD. CI/CD simply means continuous integration and continuous development. That means, okay, now NGX is not a server per se. I'm going to explain what NGX does, but NGX is not the server. NGX can be used on DigitalOcean too, but CI/CD simply means continuous integration, continuous deployment. So the moment you write your code today and you push to GitHub, GitHub is automatically deploy it on the server and it becomes live immediately. So that's what continuous integration, continuous development means. You don't need to keep deploying the project manually again. The moment you write your code, you push to GitHub, GitHub deploys it on the server, it becomes live. Every time you push, so your update keeps coming to life, immediately you push. Immediately you push. That's what CI/CD means. In case somebody asks you what is CI/CD in any interview. So, but you don't need to know how to set up DigitalOcean or AWS yourself. There are people who their job is basically for that one. People who do DevOps, their job is specially for AWS and DigitalOcean. So you can only always get any guy who's into DevOps. He will just set it up for you for once, or get any senior developer. He will set it up for you once, and you don't even need to set it up. But with time, you're going to study it, and you get to know how to use it. But this case, this is a case where the company has money. You need to have money because AWS is expensive. Now, although some people say AWS is free, there's a free tier, I've never seen it. If they say there's free tier, I've never seen it. I've never used it. I don't know. So, but I know that AWS is expensive. I also know that DigitalOcean is expensive. But if the client doesn't have too much money and can budget around $5 to $25 per month, you can go with Heroku, you can go with Render. The two of them works fine. Now, there are so many others, but these are the ones I have used. I have used them. They have worked very fine, and I can always recommend them. There are other ones. I have not used those ones. So, but you can figure those ones out for yourself. So, but, all right. Any other question before from all of these platforms I've actually explained? Any question? Yeah, all of them are Ubuntu servers, all of them. So any questions before? I'm just waiting for power. If there is no power, it's fine. We're going to deploy the project tomorrow. So do the free ones allow access without first? Yes. It doesn't allow for card. You don't need to put in your card the first time you are creating. But Render requires manual updating it whenever you add new commits to your repo. No, Render does not. It depends on your setup initially. Now, there's always a place where you allow for CI/CD, continuous integration. So, but depending on the setup on Render, the Render is not actually the one doing it. Whenever there is an update on that repo, it will automatically redeploy. If a job description requires, of course, now, are you a learner? If they ask you, do you know how to use AWS? You tell them yes now. Do you want to tell them no? You can set up AWS. Yes, we can set it up. But are you an AWS developer? No, I'm not an AWS developer. I only use it for deploying project. Simple. There are a lot of things. AWS can do a lot of things. I've met people who their career is built on AWS. Everything about them is AWS. They are studying AWS. You may one day decide to study AWS, but for now, the only thing you are doing with AWS is to deploy the project. And you are only going to do that once. You're not going to go on AWS except your server is having issues, you're having error, no payment, and all of that case. You can do that. So, but it's only once. If anybody asks you, can you use AWS to deploy a server? Yes, I can use it to deploy a server. What do you want to use? Simple. If you don't, you can actually read small about AWS and how. You don't even need to know how. I just told you now. If you don't know how, you get somebody to set it up for you. It's only done once. But you don't need AWS because I have not seen a lot of companies that pay for AWS.
Most of these are fintechs, OPay, MoneyPoint. They did not start with AWS. They didn't start with AWS. It's with time they progressed and moved into AWS. As a matter of fact, I think the only person, the company that actually started this AWS stuff is INEC. When INEC started creating user electronic blah blah blah, they started using AWS. Most of our servers in Nigeria are not AWS, but people go with AWS. But AWS is expensive. So until they start seeing users start getting, they got getting funding, then they move to AWS, because you can't afford to pay for AWS if you're not getting, except the clients, they have money. They have plenty of money, so you can go with AWS. So, but don't be scared. You can always deploy massive project on Heroku, and it will work fine, perfectly. Yes. Render allows for that. We are going to deploy it, but before we deploy it and it allows for redeployment, you need to understand Git and GitHub. Git and GitHub. So maybe by tomorrow we are going to, I don't think we want to do Git first, but you need to understand Git and GitHub before you do the continuous redeployment, because you are not going to be dragging and dropping on GitHub. Drag and drop is only done once. So if you want to do CI/CD, you need to be pushing with Git to GitHub, and it will automatically pick it up and redeploy like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've actually done a few small things, but I don't want to deploy with this project laptop, since you can't see it very well. Tomorrow we'll get prepared and try to deploy the project. But so far, I think we're done with it. For persons who are asking Paystack, let me see if I can see Paystack. I need to log into Paystack. I need to log in. I have it, but I can't reach it right now. I have the Paystack login details. So, but let me find the documentation. For persons who are asking for Paystack or integrating Paystack or Flutterwave, they are easy. They're pretty easy to implement. You need to just create an account, log into the account. Where is it? Yeah. So Paystack handles, and I don't know if you can even see my screen. It accepts payments in different form. All of them do. And it's very easy to accept payment. You are not the one integrating it on the front end, but you're integrating it on the back end. So if you look at this place, it's asking you, I don't know if you can actually see, but it's asking you to send your token as a bearer token, which is exactly what we did the last time. You will not be the one validating this token. You will not. So you see that you already know how this token is going to be validated, the bearer token, how they will extract it, remove the bearer from it, and pick only the token. But you're also supposed to send your email and the amount that you want the user to be charged. For people who work on the wallet system, you also know that this is how it will be done. You send an identifier to find the user, and then you find the amount you want to credit their wallet balance, like that. So I think there's a function that does that. I can't find it here. There should be a function that does that. But nevertheless, if you are able to if you create an account and send it to us, I can show you how to integrate it, but it's easy, very, very easy to integrate. So I don't have anything else to teach now. So if you don't have any question, I might just keep blabbing. So any question before the end of today's class? Any question so far? Any question? while we are waiting for power to be restored. So what advantage does AWS is like the father of all of them. Is the father of all of them. So AWS gives most of these servers access. So it's like the overall, like that. What does it mean entails when a website is migrating from one server to another? What will be the contribution of the backend? Is the person migrating it now? What you are the one moving it out. When you build your project, migration simply means you have one before that is working. You are now building a new one. So the backend developer is the one building it. You build it, you generate the documentation after you've deployed it, and you send a new documentation to the front end. The front end looking at it will start changing the endpoints one by one, changing the endpoints one by one. So the backend is the person doing everything. Yeah, the DevOps too. Well, both of them are the same human beings. They are the same persons, but some people are different. Backend is different. DevOps is different. If what you are talking about is about moving from one server to another, that's a different migration. If you're talking about building a different version of your backend, that's another thing. So migrating could be that you are moving from one hosting server to another one, which the DevOps can do for you, or you are building a different version of your backend. That's a different thing which the backend developer will do too. I created a new repo for my Stone 2. That's fine. Of course, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Paystack link. You can Google it. You see. I'm not sharing anything, so it doesn't really matter if you are not seeing the screen. It's fine. I'm not really sharing anything. The documentation is self-explanatory for most of them. So Paystack and Flutterwave, I think the explanation is, the Git. I don't know which one is easiest. I think the Wema Bank and the GT Bank, they are easier. I think the GT Bank it depends. All of them are easy, including Paystack. They are all easy. But I'm just looking at which one you look at first glance, and you are seeing the entire thing in the documentation. No, it's not a problem to create a new repo. It's not. What we learned today is just about creating routes. That is all. We are about to deploy the project, which we are pushing to tomorrow. So we didn't do much today. We just created different routes, because the MVC, after your controllers, next is your routes, and that is it. The Saturday's classes are already on the platform now. Check the resources, you will see it. Yes, I'm going to show you how to generate a documentation on Postman with your API. I use all of them. All the payment platform, I use all of them. I have Flutterwave, I have Paystack, I have ExpressPay, I have Squad, I have AlertPay, all of them. Now, but sometimes the client or the company that you work with will decide which one they want to use. I had a company that they are switching from one to one. They even had to move to PalmPay because of some issues. So some, like GT Bank, requires that the users, funding users wallet, you need your BVN. But PalmPay says you can use your NIN, you don't need your BVN. So depending on what the requirement is, the company can decide, let's move to this payment gateway. But as a developer, if you can integrate one, you can integrate the rest. They are the same process, it's the same thing. The first thing you want to request if you want to build a backend, because as a backend developer, the front end will rely on you. The UI is designing something for the front end, so the front end is also relying on the UI designer. So, but the functionality, what will happen, what is expected, they are relying on you. So you, the backend developer, you have more questions to ask. You may ask them for the documentations, you ask them for PRD. The shortest form is they should walk you through step by step all the functionalities that is needed. Document all of them. Nothing should be missing. As a backend developer, you are the person that has the whole story in your head. Like every single thing that the app will do, you know it. So the owner of the project or the company owner is supposed to walk you through them from the point where the user logs in or signs up. They walk you step by step. Every single functionalities, you write them down so that you don't forget. But most times they write it before that time, but it's very good you understand every single functionality they are working on, because all backends are not the same. So some backends have their own special features, some don't. So you need to understand what the features are. One in details, not at the top, in details. Now for each of those features, you will now decide how to implement it, what you need to implement it, and then the front end will follow your cue based on what you need to implement that feature. So all the features, they list them out, what it should do exactly. Then you decide how to implement it, what you need to implement it. And then by the time you know all the features, you can actually tell how long it will take you to implement it and how much they should pay you for implementing those features also. Section, I can't find the class for week 8, section 15. It's possible that it is one of those Saturdays that the classes were not okay. So you'll find it in the resources. I think we'll share 2 videos in the resource topic. So check it, you'll find it there. Mishak, we are coming to that assignment part. Now, I don't know what I want to do with that weekly assignment. Now, I said I'm still thinking about it. Maybe I'm just going to open all the assignments and I grade it half over half. But for this, at this point, I haven't gotten authorization to do that. So, but let me just think that I'm also going to ask like that. Teach you have to create one account because you need your secret key. You need your secret key to be able to integrate any payment gateway. The same way the users need their token to be able to access your backend. So you need your token too from the account. So you need to create an account, get the token before you can talk about integrating it. Non-developers cannot test it. It's only your backend can only be tested via Postman or an application. So you can't test it. How do they want to test it? You have to build an application like a front end to test your backend. No, but as a matter of fact, I think that's why most backend developers are paid higher, because a lot of persons don't even want to bother themselves with what happens on the backend. Sometimes it gets boring. If you see where a backend developer is doing a presentation, you will not see anything tangible. There are things going on. He's talking about things happening up and down, but there's no interface to show you. So you can only test the backend with Postman, or maybe there's an application that has already been built. That's how you can also test it like that. So non-programmers cannot test your backend. It's not possible. Maybe there's something out there which I don't know yet. Yes. The greater task is actually understanding the task, the whole functionalities in details, everything in details, because most times people will be asking you to do something that is not possible. I remember one time somebody was asking, we should be able to let's call somebody, like build an application that I can call somebody in the remote villages without data and without airtime. How's that? Where that it is possible, but I can't call somebody on the phone without a means to connect to them. So there are a lot of things people ask for, which is not possible. When you understand it in details, you do your research. And it's not as if that what they're asking you to build, you need to know it at the moment. No. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You don't need to know everything that they are asking you to build at the moment. You need to know maybe one or two, like video authentication, at least. Know that one. You need to know how to create one or two things on the database. Know that one. But every other thing, you figure it out. You take your time, you do your research, you write your code. It's not working, you rewrite it until it works. That's how backend goes. How do you connect to the backend if you deploy? Through the API, there's going to be a URL. So with that URL, you can connect to your backend. How do you connect the backend to the UI? Yeah, through the URL. Assuming you create the backend and deploy it, how does it get linked to a software? When you deploy, you are going to get a URL. The backend is going to be, the front end is going to be making requests to that URL for changing the endpoints. That's how you connect. Is it necessary to learn another language in addition to JavaScript? Why do you like problem? Like, why do you want to stress yourself? Node.js is big enough that if you keep learning Node.js today for the rest of your life, you are not done. You keep learning, learn how to use Node.js to build, what is it called? AI. AI is now in vogue. Learn how to use Node.js to do machine learning. JavaScript and do machine learning is now in vogue. And I also know that data science is coming to JavaScript. So there's a lot in Node.js to learn. So, but you can, depending on the company you're working for. Some companies might hire you as a Node.js developer, but halfway they will switch you, tell you to learn Go or learn Python or learn this. Now, you will not tell them no because they've already hired you. So you have to learn what they're asking you to learn. You learn it like that and you proceed. So, but on your own, for absolutely no reason, except you have a reason. But if there's no reason, you don't need it. Okay. It says, concerning resume, since we don't have work experience, just the project, how do we structure it? It's very simple. Now, the thing is this. We have built our first project called, what is it called? Lost but Found. So put a title of the project you built as an experience that you've had. Put it there. Put a title of the project. Put descriptions of each API you built. I built the API, not like I built. There's a way to put a sentence, like put one paragraph or maybe two paragraphs highlighting two APIs in it. But the most important thing is to list out the technologies used. Node.js, Express, MongoDB, and we use bcrypt to hash the password. We use JWT to generate tokens. So list those ones in one project. Then take your project, which is your capstone project, highlight the topic, do the same thing for it again. That's one. That becomes two experiences. You go over to another panel, you list your skills. Your skills should include setting up the database, building a RESTful API, connecting to MongoDB, hashing passwords. Just list out those things as part of your skills in Node.js. And we've also talked about deploying to Heroku, deploying to AWS, CI/CD. Just Git and GitHub, very important. Make sure you mention Git and GitHub. Just mention MongoDB. You have enough already if you know how to package it. But your CV is not the most important thing at the moment. So find a way to garnish your account, your LinkedIn account, any account you always frequent. Put it very well. Your resume may not really look fantastic, but just list out those things. These things are only there to get you an interview. They are not getting you the job. They are only there to get you an interview. While you are in the interview, you can then discuss. Now, I was being interviewed. I didn't even know it was an interview. I thought it was just a normal conversation. So somebody asked me, how much will you charge if you are going to be a full stack developer, or how much would we pay a full stack developer, since full stack is two, front end and back end put together? And I said, if it's a good full stack developer, you can start with say 400, 450, or even 500 per month, and it's fine. But he then said, okay, what if the person is just a backend developer? Does that mean you pay the person half? I said, no. The backend will also collect the same amount, 450, 400, even 500, depending on what they are building. But he said, what kind of maths is that? I was thinking full stack is both. So backend being one of it, you slash it into two. But the thing there is that there are some projects you work on as a full stack developer, and you're not even building features that are that much. But there's a project you work on as only a backend developer, but the features you are building on or you're working on, the features are massive, and it is even way bigger than somebody who's working on a full stack on a simple project. So you can't compare it. And he was shocked. The following thing I heard was, please let's set up an interview with my partner so that we can talk about. I said, no, calm down, slow down, like that. So those things are just going to get you the interview. What you say in the interview, how you answer them, what you tell them about yourself will actually get you the job. So there are two different things. And you don't need to say much in the interview. You just have to be confident. Just be confident that you know it. Whether you know it or not, there is always time to learn it. You can pick a job today. And as you are going to the office in the morning, what you will do in that morning, you learned it while you are in the vehicle. It happens. While you are in the vehicle going to the office, you learned that thing that morning while you are going away. So you don't need to be scared of. And the funny thing is, you don't need to learn everything at once. The one you will do today, you learn it today or in the night. The one you do next tomorrow, you learn it tomorrow night. Just like that. Keep learning it before the following day. And before you know it, you are done. I'm just talking about for newbies, people who are just their first time taking up tech roles. You can always learn that in the night. Come out tomorrow morning and perform it as if you known it all this while. So what's your take on Node.js? It's fine. If you know how to use it, go for it. But if you don't have a need for it, there's no need bothering yourself with Node.js for now. But it's fine. It's absolutely good. I've used Node.js, but I don't really. It's fine. Just go anyone you want. How hard or easy transition from web to mobile? As a backend developer, you are building both now. Whatever you are building for the web is also working for the mobile. So there's no transition, except you are a front-end developer. So as a front-end developer, if you are building your web with React, it's also easy to transition to React Native for mobile. Or maybe Flutter, but Flutter is a different programming language. How do I code on cloud without leaving any files on my PC? Which one is cloud? You have to push your code to GitHub or maybe Bitbucket, but that's all you need to. Is it that? Yes, at this point now, it's advisable to learn TypeScript. But the only thing that will make you learn TypeScript very well is a job or an internship. So TypeScript is the next year. TypeScript is not a new programming language. No. It's still JavaScript. All you want to do is, this thing I'm already doing in JavaScript, how would I do it in TypeScript? So if you are building your backend, build it with JavaScript. But if they are requesting you change it to TypeScript, you just find a way to change little variables to TypeScript. Rename your file to TypeScript. TypeScript and JavaScript are the same thing. You are not learning a new programming language. You're just learning how to do it in TypeScript. Now, the benefit of using TypeScript is the errors you experience, all the errors, you experience them while you are developing, not when you have deployed. For with JavaScript, there's every possibility that you build your application with JavaScript, and after you have deployed, you'll be seeing errors on the server. But with TypeScript, the errors, you see a lot of them while you are still developing. I think that's one benefit of using. Otherwise, for TypeScript, you write more codes, unlike JavaScript. JavaScript, you write less codes. For TypeScript, you write more codes because you have to define the types. And with TypeScript, you see a lot of errors. You see errors and you get tired of seeing errors. So, but if there is no need for TypeScript, forget about it. If there is no need, if the company is not putting it compulsory, forget about it. Keep writing your JavaScript until there is a need for TypeScript. What is the greatest challenge for I think we've actually passed. What is the greatest challenge as aspiring backend dev can encounter? The greatest challenge you can have is jumping in on a project you did not start and with less amount of time. I've been in a situation where I think that was my greatest challenge. The company they've already hired several developers to work on the project, but the project is not going anywhere. And so they hired me, but they need to see results in a week. How the heck do you want me to understand the project that have been built for 2 years? I understand it and then write my own, and you see progress in 1 week. But I think that was what the person who recommended me cost actually, because he was just recommended. I know somebody is going to come and blah, 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 blah. So, but to cut the whole story short, I didn't even bother about reading those code base that have already been written. I just assumed that those ones are working. I had to write the ones that are not working. That's it. So any other one they point out that is not working, I'll visit that one and fix it. Anyone they say is not working. So instead of spending my 1 week to read the entire code base, I just forget those ones, build on the ones I know they're having issues, and that was it. We're going to come to this aspect because it's very, very important. I think that will be the last thing, and then we'll be done. So guys, I think we are done for today. There's no need to rush it. Tomorrow we're going to deploy the project, and that will be the end. So deploy the project, generate the documentation, and possibly finish up Git and GitHub. That is it. Yes, now it's not hard now. I had a student, not like I have students. I have several students that are better developers. I'm not saying they are better, maybe they are better, I don't know, but they're doing massively well. A lot of them are not even in Nigeria anymore. So depending on your background, depending on your capacity, your financial ability, you just learn as good as you can. If you want to stay in the country, fine. You want to leave, fine. So I had a lot of students. Even when I was learning the code itself, I was even thinking I cannot even learn it. So I was even thinking to myself, are you sure I even know these things? I turned down a job offer. I was offered a job in Dubai. At that time, I already know some things, but not everything. So I was offered a job in Dubai, and I was asked, if you are going to come over, we'll pay you double. If you will not come over, we are going to pay you half of it. Now, my problem wasn't about how much you will pay me. I was actually scared that a company in Dubai, am I sure I can do something that they want me to do? But that's like, it's like, it's not now. I opted today. A friend of mine that recommended me to that job, he had so much faith in me. For me, I didn't even have faith in myself. So I lost that job till today. But I think one day while I was teaching for NLNG, I discovered that the person who is actually controlling backend for most of Dubai Airlines is a Nigerian. He's a Nigerian, and I've been looking for a way to connect with him. He's always in his house in Dubai, and he cannot come down to Nigeria. He's a Nigerian controlling the backend for most of the airlines in Dubai. I wish I had moved to Dubai at that time, but it's not as if I've been in a hurry or in a rush. I've gotten a lot of offers, but I'm taking my time. I know just with the right time I move. So you can always be like me. It's a matter of putting in your time in it and energy you're going to get it. What is your advice for someone who wants to switch career to a tech from a government job? Where he's currently collecting close to 450K in this economy. Now, if you are working for a government job, now it depends on what you are doing and who you are. There are people who they will come out of tech or they will come into tech. They will never earn as high as 150. I know somebody who has been on WordPress for years. The maximum you can collect being a WordPress developer most times are 50,000. That could be 150, that could be 200, but like the benchmark is 50,000, and he is fine. It's fine at 50,000. There are people that will come out of tech today and that not come out, enter into tech today, but because of who they are, they've built a product and they are looking for 20 million. I went for a presentation with somebody, and while we went there, we were asking for, is it $5 million? We were asking for $5 million, but only reaching there, they now said, oh, you guys, I like you. Some person said, I like you. I want you to package yourself more. The two guys that left here now asked for $20 million, and the two of them got it. $20 million, $20 million. You are coming to ask for $5 million. What I want you to do is repackage this your model, build this your product very well, and come back with a larger amount. So these are two different persons. Somebody can spend $50,000. Somebody can come out and build a project and is asking for much amount. And most of the people are asking for this money. It's not as if they are gurus or all of that. No, they have an idea. They start building on that idea. They use that idea, look for funding, and proceed like that. So, and before you know, they become tech owners, become people that built one product that you are using today. So you can't compare it. It depends on who you are. So any 450,000 is not bad. But if you think you can do better, tech will actually help you to do better. But if you think you cannot do better, please just remain there. Remain there. After the program, can we still get access to the recording? Will always be on the platform. It's yours. If we have the time, we will. Years of experience. Now, when they ask you for years of experience, you people don't know what it means. I think when we started last year, we said, I no agree for anybody. That's no agree for anybody. But there's one thing my mom taught me. She said, whatever I put my mind on, I can do it. Even if I say I want to start painting now, I can paint. But what she would tell me is that anywhere I say I want to work in, I should not back down, even if they want to carry the police to arrest you. So somebody says this is a job for 7 years experience. Put in your application first. Put the application first. It's 10 years experience. I agree. Put in the application. So let the years of experience not be what will discourage you from applying for the job. Put the application first. I think I heard a lady talking yesterday. She said the backend developer, the best backend developer she hired was not the person that came with a good resume. The person didn't even know how to answer her questions and all of that, but she took a chance on him, and today he came out as the best. And that's the product they have been using. He has been managing it. They've had other developers join him, and that's what she was saying yesterday. So you can't really tell. Let years of experience not be what will push you down. Don't go and look for $2 million, $20 million. Yeah, you can. There are people who have that long. I think the funny thing is there are companies who are ready to sponsor tech. This period I learned a lot. My eyes have opened. There is money everywhere in tech. There is money. Like, was it yesterday or so? I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. I was in a meeting. These guys were quoting millions and millions, and not millions. They're quoting billions. They have one company that is already valued as a certain billion. They want to start up another one that will be valued at a certain billion. Like, they want to run 3 of them concurrently. And I'm asking myself, like, although the whole thing is still doing me like film, I'm not really understanding it. But let's look at how things go first. All right, guys. See you again tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow. Bye for now. There are so many questions. Drop your questions. Bye for now.